End Times, Mideast News.
Stand your ground.
I'm a soldier in the army of the Lord. I'm a soldier in the army. I'm a soldier in the army of the Lord. I'm a soldier in the army. I got my war clothes on in the army of the Lord. I got my war clothes on in the army. I got my war clothes on in the army of the Lord. I got my war clothes on in the army. I'm a soldier in the army of the Lord. I'm a soldier in the army. I'm a soldier in the army of the Lord. I'm a soldier in the army. I got my breastplate on in the army of the Lord. I got my helmet on in the army. I got my sword and shield in the army of the Lord. His truth is marching on. I'm a soldier in the army of the Lord. I'm a soldier in the army. I'm a soldier in the army of the Lord. I'm a soldier in the army. I'm a soldier.
Left, right, left, right,
I'm a soldier.
left, right, left.
Come on now, left, right, left. I'm in the Lord's army. Yes, sir. I'm in the Lord's army. Yes, sir. I may never march in the infantry, but I'm in the Lord's army. Yes, sir. I'm gonna fight until I die. In the army of the Lord. I'm gonna fight until I die. In the army. Oh, I'm gonna fight until I die. In the army of the Lord. Oh, I'm gonna fight until I die. In the army. I'm a soldier in the army of the Lord. I'm a soldier in the army. I'm a soldier in the army of the Lord. I'm a soldier in the army. I'm a soldier in the army of the Lord. I'm a soldier in the army. I'm a soldier in the army of the Lord. I'm a soldier in the army.
Stand your ground.
All right, everyone. Welcome to End Times 4565. And I'm glad to be here and see you all here. And we are live streaming tonight. We're making an attempt at it, that's for sure. At any rate, what happened was I added some new RAM to my machine, and it seems to work a lot better all the way around. It's really fast now. But I'm looking down at my CPU, and it's running 73%. And my GPU is running 80%. And so that's pretty good. We should be able to be successful like that. The only thing is I wasn't able to put the news headlines on the screen for you tonight, but maybe I'll get that figured out. I'm having a hard time figuring out how to run this here program, but I'm getting it all together. It takes a little time. And always remember, you got to have enough of this. If you don't have enough of this, your machine sits. So be sure you get some RAM. Load that bad boy up with all the RAM you can get, because that really helps in the multitasking department. Well, with that being said, I am glad to be here this evening to bring you guys this Middle East news. Now, I want to tell you some things that are going on in the Middle East. Now, right now, how can I say this? Things seem to be quiet. There's a whole lot of jibber-jabber going on and that sort of thing, with a few small skirmishes here and there, but nothing really booming as far as war yet. I think the Palestinians and the Arabs are getting their coalition together the same way they did when they conspired against Jesus. And so I think they are just trying to get their act together. And who knows when they're going to be ready. I don't know. I'm in the speculation department here. I speculate that they're probably waiting for the United States quote-unquote peace plan. Once they get the peace plan, then maybe that'll tell what's up next. But that's strictly in the speculation department. So with that being said, let's take a look here at what's happening. Israeli children counter flaming kites with peace balloons. So Hamas has threatened to send 5,000 burning kites from Gaza, and they failed to materialize. Everybody's focused on the World Cup games, soccer. So the Israelis launched the balloons. It seems to be that it's all about the soccer game right now. It's funny how sports has a way of changing the game plan. Hey, it kind of made a joke there. Sports has a way of changing the present plan. Because right now everybody seems to be focused on this World Cup. Now, unless some sort of a terrorist attack happens at the World Cup, I think it's just going to be a yelling match till it's over. But we shall see. I wish I could get you this picture right here, because it's a very interesting photograph. I'll try to get this headline for you. United Nations Rights Body reopens amid U.S. threat to withdraw over anti-Israel bias. Boy, would I love to get this. Let me see what I can do here. I'm going to try this because I really want you to see this. And I'm going to save that. Okay. Hang on, ladies and gentlemen. I really want you to get a good look at this. And I'm going to go here. Scene 5. Hang on. I might even be successful at this if I can work it just right there, Sister Terry, since you're the only one watching on live stream. Hang on. I know it's here. At least I hope it is. And it is. And it's there. And here it is. And uh-oh, my CPU usage is going to crash. Hang on. Okay, well, I'm not sure. Okay, well, you can see it right here, I believe. Now, this is a picture inside the United Nations. And of course, this up here, the blue part, is the ceiling. Now, if you'll note right here, this outline, it's in a circle, but you see this shape here. And what it is, it's an image of an eye. Here. Where am I? You see the eye? Look. Right there. I don't have a pointer, so this is inside the United Nations. So that tells me that it's Illuminati. The picture of the eye. New World Order stuff. No doubt, everybody knows it. But they have these little innuendos in the buildings and stuff like that. And make no mistake about it, the United Nations isn't going to go away. Now, exactly how they're going to end up being a part of the New World Order is yet to be found. It's possible that the leaders of the 10 nations will meet at the United Nations. Just possible. Because the Illuminati, quote unquote, the Bilderbergs, the NWO, the New World Order, they're going to be running things, and it ain't too far from today. Now, that's a fact. And you can't deny that. Even when you look in the ceiling of the United Nations and you see an eye, well, that ought to tell you something right there. So with that being said, Dateline Geneva. The UN Human Rights Council will kick off a new session Monday under a cloud of growing U.S. criticism and the threat of Washington withdrawing from the body altogether, primarily over its anti-Israel bias. Long-standing U.S. criticism of the Council for its bias against Israel has escalated since United Nations skeptic Donald Trump came to power. U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, gave a fiery speech before the Geneva-based council a year ago, demanding deep reforms to fix its, quote, chronic anti-Israel bias, unquote. She also demanded the body to throw out abusive regimes like Venezuela and Burundi, which holds seats on the rotating 47-seat council. Despite the tough U.S. rhetoric, which essentially said reform or we are leaving, little has changed. So there we see that the UN human rights body reopens in spite of the threats of the U.S. And I don't think the threats of the U.S. are really going to affect what they want to do. Okay. It's just a whole ton of World Cup news. Now, can I give you this headline? This is a sort of a shocking headline. And it's very prophetic because it tells how far back Israel is sliding. And that is according to prophecy. Now, if Israel keeps sliding this way at this speed, it's going to be a very interesting situation. Hello, Sister Terry. God bless you over there for the YouTube live stream. Okay, you're going to love this headline. Have 3 people on Mixler. Now, tomorrow we're going to have a prophecy discussion about the last 3 trumpets. So for all of you who are watching this YouTube video, stay tuned for tomorrow's program on the last 7 trumpets, and it'll give you something to comment about for sure. Headline: Tough Women, Bad Boys, and Theater Cocktails to be featured in Jerusalem events. The Times of Israel's 2018 summer season of events for English speakers features new books and their authors, television, theater, and film, and the British-born survivor of a brutal terror attack. On Sunday, June the 18th, we are proud to present the Israel launch of Sarah Tuttle Singer's debut book, Jerusalem Drawn and Quartered, in partnership with the Jerusalem Press Club. A Los Angeles native who moved to Israel a decade ago is now the Times of Israel's new media editor. Tuttle Singer has won worldwide admiration for her inclusive and lyrical writing about her life in Israel. Her first book takes readers on a personal and spiritual journey based on a year spent living in the 4 quarters of Jerusalem's historic Old City. If you love Jerusalem, you'll love this book, says Peter Lerner, former Israeli Army spokesman. Why, Sarah Tuttle Singer, in her lifelong love affair with the city, new and old, people from across the political and religious divide, brings it all together like only Sarah could. Now, what's going to happen is they're going to begin a whole bunch of liberal things in the city, including drinking and other things in Jerusalem that at these events that they don't normally do. Because the liberals are trying to take over the ship. So tough women and bad boys and theater cocktails are going to be featured at these Jerusalem events, which I think is garbage. Early elections back on the table as rabbis issue ultimatum on enlistment law. So they're after Benjamin Netanyahu again with that. Israel says new Rampage rocket will break bunkers, but not the bank. Looks like Israel has a new bunker buster. Israel defense contractors this week unveiled a new long-range air-to-ground rocket dubbed the Rampage, which the government-owned companies boast can be used to destroy high-quality targets on the cheap. The rocket, which weighs over a half a ton, was designed to penetrate into and destroy protected areas like bunkers, according to its manufacturers, Israeli Military Industry Systems, and Israel Aerospace Industries. The targets that best fit the capabilities of the new rocket include communication and command centers, Air Force bases, maintenance centers, infrastructures, and valuable field targets protected by anti-air systems. The Rampage comes equipped with an explosive warhead, was reportedly named after the popular video game and recent blockbuster movie, presumably for the rocket's destructive capabilities. Well, more weapons. You see how the news is just kind of idling along out there? It's not really earth-shattering news. It's just, I couldn't hardly find anything that was just, make us go, what? Because it seems to be so quiet. It's almost spooky. But there is a headline here that we need to get to. Okay, the Afghan official says that the U.S. drone has killed the Pakistan Taliban chief, Mullah Fazlullah, was responsible. There you go. Mullah Fazlullah has been bullied. He's out. Iran leaders focus on Palestinians in EID messages to the nation. Looks like this ought to be interesting from the Big Tola Khomeini. An address to the nation on Friday, Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Big Tola Khomeini praised Iranian citizens for showing up at massive anti-Israel rallies last week in support of the Palestinian people to mark Al-Quds, or Jerusalem Day. This year, this is what Khomeini said. He says, "This year, and despite the hot weather, people participated in Quds Day rallies more remarkable than previous years," said the Big Tola Khomeini in a speech on Eid al-Fitr, the festival marking the end of the Islamic holy month of Ramadan. President Hassan Rouhani also sent a message to the nation saying, "I believe the land of Palestine will be returned to the owners of the land with the help of God." Iran's semi-official Fars news agency claimed that millions of Iranians from all walks of life took part in protests in nearly 900 Iranian cities last Friday. There was no independent verification of these numbers. Chanting "Death to Israel," demonstrators protested Israel's control of Jerusalem, the city where Muslims believe Islam's prophet Muhammad began his journey to heaven. Palestinians want East Jerusalem for their future capital. Demonstrators also chanted anti-American slogans to condemn the U.S. decision to move its embassy to Jerusalem. Well, I don't see nothing but love from the most great, illustrious potentate, the Big Tola Khomeini, and his followers. Isn't it interesting how the Palestinians gain so much extra help, especially from Gaza, where they're not big-time players. They know they're not big-time players, and they pretend to be. So they do their best to pick the big-time players to be on their side. And there you go with the Big Tola Khomeini. Just say it. So, just a few more things that I've come up with, and I got it kind of all scattered out right now because I was trying to get these headlines on the live stream so that you could see them together, but I was unsuccessful, ran out of time, but it's okay. I know I'm babbling now, but I'm trying to find something for you. A compilation of things that I put together that I cannot find. Okay. Now, I think that what's going to happen is Gaza's going to do something really strong. But they're not going to do it by themselves because they're not big enough. because all they have is burning tractor tires and burning kites and burning chickens. Let's take a look at these couple of things. Well, they're coming on now, aren't they? Lest one thought the Gaza border protest would have fizzled after Catastrophe Day or on any other day, they have turned out to be sorely mistaken, as it is now the day after Ramadan, the holiday of Eid al-Fitr, and new protests are expected yet again to begin. Note, on Thursday, Hamas threatened to send 5,000 burning explosive kites and balloons into Israel during the Friday protests, which is a sentence you would have had to be on LSD to write 10 years ago, because that's insanity, which did not happen. Adding to the tense situation is the fact that many of the balloons appear to be condoms, and some of them are explicitly for parties and well-wishing, like a booby trap balloon with the message, I can't say that. Launched at Israel Friday morning, so apparently the Palestinians don't really have any balloons, but they have an extra large supply of condoms, which they are blowing up with helium. But I digress. Unlike previous balloon and kite attacks, some of these, according to Hamas, will have the ability to go as far as 40 kilometers, reportedly leading police to warn citizens against touching random balloons and kites they find on the street, which is always a good policy. As of this news, however, only a smattering of balloons or kites have been launched, with no major damage or fires, though that could change in an instant. In the meantime, though, the threat remains just words floating in helium. Headline: 2 incidents of the past days of the Army shooting warning shots from the air at Gazans preparing condom kites and balloons are seen as a change in policy by the IDF, a sign that it is taking the threat more seriously than before. Quote, the grace period is over. Yada Arasha writes, calling Friday the first real test of the policy. The move comes after the government and army have come under fire for not dealing with the kites and puffed up condoms as weapons instead of toys. So now, the Palestinians have added this onslaught of puffed up condoms to their arsenal. I'm just telling you what they're doing here. This is a Mideast news update, and the peaceful Palestinians, at least that's their claim, have ran out of a lot of kite material, and I guess now they're raiding all the filling stations and grabbing the condoms and pumping them full of ether. Telegraphing the anger of Southern residents over the situation. Terrorists should be assassinated, says the columnist, and money to be withheld to pay for the damage, comparing Gaza to a viper's nest that needs to be taken care of. Headline: It's not only the right that's critical of Lieberman, whose hardline view that humanitarian aid will not help the fight against terror runs in direct contradiction with the Army's own beliefs, putting him at odds with the military he controls. Well, you know, diplomats do what diplomats do. Lieberman said that he supported the viewpoint. By the way, Lieberman is the ambassador to Israel from the U.S. Lieberman said that he supported the viewpoint of the Army as it was presented to the Security Cabinet. So we can take it that you are in favor of providing relief unconditionally, Elkin inferred. No way, Lieberman shot back. We don't give anything without getting something from Hamas. Elkin persisted. Just now, the Army told us that it's in favor of offering relief immediately. So what do you say? I am 100% behind the IDF, Lieberman declared. So, you are in favor of all the relief that was proposed, Elkin said. No, Lieberman replied. I am against. So, there you go. Just when you think you got it going on there, this happens. Hang on a minute. This cough is almost gone. Israel, headline, Israel may have come under harsh reprimand at the UN earlier this week. Excuse me. Man. Over Gaza's violence, but Israel diplomats, well, we already read about that. Okay, I'm back. I had to pause for a moment. North Korea may actually be one place where Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the Trump administration are not on the same page. According to a report by Barak Favid for Israel's Channel 10 and the U.S. news site Axios, exposing a secret Israeli cable on the Trump meeting with Kim Jong-un. Regardless of the smiles in the summit, many in Japan, South Korea, and the U.S. Congress doubt that North Korea is sincere in its intentions. Our assessment is that regardless of President Trump's statements about quick changes that are expected in North Korean policy, the road to real and substantive change, if it ever happens, will be long and slow. You know, that's another question I have for you guys. What are your thoughts on this meeting with Kim Jong-un? I wonder what that's all about. I find it interesting that they met when just a month or two ago they were calling each other tremendous names for a year. Rattling sabers, holding up rockets, deploying warships, and now the president goes over there and has sushi with the rocket man. Somebody's not on the level. And my opinion is whoever is talking to Kim Jong-un I'm not really understanding what's happening. Because this meeting technically should not have taken place. Something very critical has taken place. Could it be that U.S. operatives broke into North Korea and jumped into Kim Jong-un's bedroom with weapons and told him to calm down and meet or else, and then jumped back out the window? Maybe Kim Jong-un, the rocket man, had a nightmare. And in that nightmare, a bunker-busting bomb flew through his bedroom window. I know it sounds very comical, but what's this all about? Japan, South Korea, and believe it or not, the whole of the U.S. Congress are in doubt, as are a lot of the people in the United States, and me included. And the only information we get from the meeting is what they've leaked to us. Time will tell, that's for sure. And finally, headline, in Iran, Supreme Leader Ali Bigtollah Khomeini is spending his day giving Netanyahu fresh Twitter ammunition to prove the country's evil intentions. days after saying he never called to push the Jews into the sea, which came on the heels of him calling Israel a cancer that needed to be eradicated. He now says again that Israel is done for. Quote, "The Zionist regime will not last. All historical experiences imply that with absolute certainty. Undoubtedly, the Zionist regime will perish in the not-so-far future," he tweets, capping an anti-Israeli tweet storm. Tweet from the Big Tola Khomeini says, "Like all free countries, people of Palestine, real Palestinians, should be polled to determine the political system of Palestine. That governing body will decide on future immigrants in Palestine. There's no other solution, and this leads to the elimination of the Zionist regime." Well, the Big Tola Khomeini, you have to be educated. First off, the Palestinians are not capable of even running a decent coffee shop. How can you ask the Palestinians to poll themselves when, while they're making war with other nations, they're killing each other? Now, I would suggest, Mr. Ali Big Tola Khomeini, if you're really the big shot that you say you are, why don't you hop on your little glory bus, ride on down to Gaza, go into the Gazan political square with a microphone and take it over? And you go in there and say who is what. You run the show. Why don't you go take over Gaza? Why don't you go take over Iraq? Mr. Big Tola Khomeini. I mean, you're wanting the Palestinians to meet, to come up with a solution, when they can't even keep up with the demand of balloons as weapons. Whereas now they have to resort to condoms, which now means that there's going to be a baby boom in Gaza. Opportunity knocks for the Big Tola Khomeini. Despite the Ayatollah's genoniacal thoughts, at least one thing Israel is rooting for: Iran at the World Cup. I don't think that's even news. Myself. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be the Middle East news for now. Like I said, it's just sort of a mishmash of other news, most of it being the soccer game. So with that being said, of course the earthquakes are off the hook, ladies and gentlemen. But Sister Terry has to leave, and I don't want to drag the program out either, since I started late. So let's do as we normally do and end this program with a reading of the 140th Psalm. Pay attention. O Lord, rescue me from evil people. Protect me from those who are violent, those who plot evil in their hearts and stir up trouble all day long. Their tongues sting like a snake. The venom of a viper drips from their lips. O Lord, keep me out of the hands of the wicked. Protect me from those who are violent, for they are plotting against me. The proud have set a trap to catch me. They have stretched out a net. They have placed traps all along the way. I said to the Lord, you are my God. Listen, O Lord, to my cries for mercy. O sovereign Lord, be strong. O sovereign Lord, the strong one, who rescued me. You protected me on the day of battle. Lord, do not let evil people have their way. Do not let their evil schemes succeed, or they'll become proud. Let my enemies be destroyed by the very evil they've planned for me. Let burning coals fall down on their heads. Let them be thrown into the fire or into watery pits from which they can't escape. Don't let liars prosper here in our land. Cause great disasters to fall on the violent. But I know the Lord will help those they persecute. He will give justice to the poor. Surely righteous people are praising your name. The godly will live in your presence. You would say, Brother Ed, we read that before. Yes, we did, and I felt it was worth reading one more time. And with that, brothers and sisters, I ask you to contend for the faith, fight for the gospel, and love one another. And love the Lord God with all your heart, soul, body, and mind. Because soon he will be here to catch us all away.
Stand your ground.
I'm a soldier.